It's not ADA compliant, and frankly, it's ugly. That's what she said, while pointing at the ramp I built for my wife, with her clipboard in one hand and a measuring tape in the other, like she was auditing a war crime. What she didn't know, what she never bothered to ask, was that my wife hadn't walked in 5 years. And I built that ramp with my own hands the week we came home from the hospital. We moved to Bluebell Creek for a reason. Quiet streets, one-story homes, no stairs to climb, no pity stairs either. My wife, Elena, had been through enough. 3 surgeries, 7 months of rehab, and a diagnosis that changed our lives forever. The ramp was more than wood and screws. It was independence, it was dignity, it was hers. The HOA never said a word when I submitted the project. 3 weeks later, it was done. Pressure-treated lumber, gentle incline, handrails on both sides, clean, sturdy, safe. Neighbors waved, one even helped stain it. Then came Karen. She showed up with a tape measure and sunglasses. Didn't knock, didn't smile. Just stood at the edge of my backyard fence and said, "Did you get architectural approval?" It's not a pergola, it's a ramp. That structure alters visible elevation and surface continuity. That's violation 4.6. It's an accessibility ramp. She stepped closer. Well, it shouldn't be in public view. It's my backyard. She scribbled something down. You'll be receiving a formal notice. Elena came outside just as Karen was walking off. Everything okay? You're not going to believe this, I said. She looked past me at the ramp. She has a problem with that? She called it an eyesore. Elena's face hardened. Then maybe she should try living without stairs. The notice arrived 2 days later. Typed. Signed K. Sterling, HOA President. Stamped with an HOA seal. I'm 90% sure she printed at Office Depot. It read, You are in violation of HOA Regulation 4.6.1 regarding unauthorized construction affecting exterior aesthetics. Structure must be removed or reapproved within 10 business days. At the bottom, in bold, failure to comply may result in legal escalation. I brought it inside, showed Elena. She read it twice, then looked at me. What are we going to do? I exhaled. We're not going to take it down. And if she escalates, I smiled. Then she finds out who helped draft the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988. It's you? I was a second-year legal intern, but still. That night, I pulled out the big binder. Title: HOA Bylaws versus Federal Accessibility Code. Prepared statements. Because this wasn't just about a ramp anymore. This was about dignity, and I was done being quiet. I don't care if she's disabled. It's a visual disruption. That's what she told the board. And it wasn't whispered. It was read out loud, in bold, during the monthly HOA meeting. I recorded every word. The board sat in stunned silence. Tom, an older guy with a gray mustache and a binder full of nothing, looked like he wanted to disappear into his clipboard. Brenda blinked twice, then asked, Karen, do you realize how that sounds? Karen adjusted her reading glasses. It sounds like I'm doing my job. You're saying a mobility ramp violates our aesthetic code? Correct. Page 32, section 4.61, unauthorized modification of visible structure. I stood from the back row, not angry, not loud, just firm. I submitted a request 3 months ago. Karen snorted. With no visual rendering, no licensed contractor signature. I built it myself. Exactly. The room shifted, people squirmed. I scanned the crowd, neighbors, friends, 2 teachers from the elementary school. I spoke directly to them. My wife's legs don't work, but her spirit does. She waters the garden from that ramp. She laughs from it. It's not just wood. It's a lifeline. Karen cut in. And then place it in the rear yard, where it won't bother anyone. Brenda raised a brow. The ramp is in his yard. It's visible from the sidewalk. So is your inflatable Easter bunny. Should we find that too? Laughter, quiet but real. Karen's face tightened. I stepped forward, laid a printed copy of the ADA accessibility guidelines on the table. Under federal law, housing providers, including HOAs, are required to make reasonable accommodations for individuals with disabilities. Karen rolled her eyes. You're throwing federal law at a volunteer-run HOA? No, I said, I'm reminding you of what empathy looks like. The vote was postponed. Board needed time to review. Karen stormed out before the meeting ended. Clipboard clutched like a dagger. I stayed, talked to neighbors, answered questions. That night, Elena wheeled out onto the ramp, held a mug of tea with both hands. You did good, she said. Not yet, but I'm close. She nodded toward the lawn. You know what this reminds me of? Please don't say courtroom drama. I was going to say a seesaw, right before it tips. The next morning, we woke up to chalk on our sidewalk. Not graffiti. Just 4 words in messy kid handwriting. I like your ramp. And beneath it, a drawing. 2 stick figures. One in a wheelchair, the other holding hands. Karen may have had bylaws, but we had a neighborhood, and it was waking up. This isn't about accessibility, this is about process. Karen's voice echoed off the HOA clubhouse walls. There were 27 people seated, 3 board members, 1 city ADA compliance officer, and me, calm, collected, with a binder labeled Case Study, HOA Overreach in Federal Law. The hearing was called after Karen filed a formal enforcement petition. She listed my ramp as a violation of community elevation harmony. She used phrases like visual breach, structural non-uniformity, and optical burden. She said it was setting a dangerous precedent. I wore a navy blazer and brought a flash drive. On it? Federal ADA Code excerpts, state-level fair housing regulations, photos of 10 other homes in our neighborhood with unauthorized modifications, none of which were ever cited, and a testimonial video from Elena. Karen began her statement. We are not heartless. We believe in compassion, but compassion must coexist with compliance. If everyone installs unapproved ramps, sheds, benches, where does it end? She paused for drama. Do we become a jungle of personalized chaos, a patchwork of wood and cement? I waited, then walked to the projector. Play clip 1. The screen lit up. Elena's face appeared, tired but glowing. She looked directly into the camera. This ramp lets me join you on porches and gardens and holiday gatherings. It lets me say yes instead of, I'll just stay inside. Please understand, my life didn't end when I stopped walking. And this ramp isn't ugly. Isolation is ugly. Silence. 1 sniffle. Maybe 2. Even Tom, the clipboard guy, looked misty. Then I turned back to the room. I'm not asking you to like how it looks. I'm asking you to let her live. I walked back to my seat. No more words needed. Patricia, the new HOA vice president, cleared her throat. We've reviewed the petition. We've consulted legal counsel. And we've reviewed Mr. Barlow's evidence and presentation. She looked around. Hey, Karen, we cannot override federal law with HOA regulations, and frankly, we wouldn't want to. She turned to the rest of the board. All in favor of dismissing the enforcement petition? 3 hands went up. Unanimous. Karen stood. You're letting sentimentality override uniformity. Patricia replied, we're letting humanity override hostility. Karen left. Again. But this time there was no storm. No clipboard. No victory. Just a quiet walk toward a quiet car. Later that evening, we found a note taped to our mailbox. No signature. Just 4 typed words. Now let her use it. We left it there. Let the wind tug at it. Let the neighborhood see. Because some messages aren't meant to be private. I think she's finally lost her grip. That's what the mailman said. Not to me, to Mr. Levine across the street. But I heard it. And I agreed. It started with flyers. Karen went full propaganda. I protect the visual integrity of Bluebell Creek. Stop unauthorized modifications before it's too late. If you let one ramp in, what comes next? She didn't name us directly. But she didn't have to. The cartoon on the flyer showed a stick figure pushing a wheelchair up a ramp into a house that looked suspiciously like ours. It was tasteless, tone deaf, and it backfired because something had shifted since the hearing. People saw the ramp. Then they saw Elena on it, watering flowers, chatting with neighbors, handing out homemade cookies with her chair parked right at the top of the incline. She wasn't the disabled lady anymore. She was just Elena. One by one, people spoke up. On the Facebook group, at HOA meetings, even at the dog park. It's not an eyesore. It's a reminder that we're not all 35 and able-bodied. My mother might need one someday. Am I going to get fined for loving her? We've got 7 lawn flamingos and a garden gnome that farts when it rains. But this is what Karen's mad about? Someone started calling it the Freedom Ramp. Another added solar-powered fairy lights to the railings at night. We didn't even know who. We just came outside one evening and saw it glowing, soft and golden. Elena cried. I did too. Then came the letter from the HOA, not Karen, from Patricia. It read, after reviewing multiple reports of hostile behavior, unapproved communications, and targeted campaigns against individual residents, the HOA board has voted to remove Karen Sterling from all executive roles effective immediately. Just like that. No more president. No more clipboard. No more signatures on fine notices. That night, our doorbell rang. It was Brenda. She handed us a mason jar full of handwritten notes. From neighbors. Dozens. Each one folded and warm with ink. Elena read the first. Now, thanks to your ramp, my son asked me what accessibility means. Second, I walk by your house and remember that people try. That's enough for me some days. Third, you gave us something no HOA rule ever has, perspective. Elena looked at me. I used to think I was stuck at the bottom of the stairs forever. I kissed her hand. Now look at you, you're elevated. She left. That's what Patricia told me over the phone. Packed up in the night, no notice, no forwarding address. Karen Sterling, HOA President Emeritus, Queen of the Clipboard, had vanished. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just walked out to the backyard and stood beside the ramp, ran my hand along the rail, watched the sunlight bounce off the polished wood. Elena rolled out behind me. Feels quieter? It is. Think she'll come back? I shook my head. Ma, bullies rarely do when no one's afraid anymore. A week passed. Then 2, the HOA meetings changed. No more fear, no more whispers. Brenda suggested a new initiative. Neighbor projects without permission. Small things, beautiful things. Planters, mini libraries, benches, bird feeders. If it helps someone, she said, build it first. We'll figure the forms later. People laughed. But they built. Kids drew ramps and sidewalk chalk. Teens took selfies with Elena like she was some kind of local legend. Someone hung a sign at the end of the ramp. Permission not required for dignity. We left it up. It never fell. Then one afternoon we heard a knock. Not the doorbell. The ramp. 2 soft knocks on the railing. A woman stood there, maybe early 60s, nervous eyes. I hope I'm not intruding. Not at all, Elena said, rolling forward. The woman smiled weakly. I just moved in, lot 19, my husband recovering. Stroke last year. She looked at the ramp like it was a lighthouse. Could I ask how you got approval? Elena just smiled. You don't need approval, you just need to care enough to build it. I stepped out, too. We talked, explained, offered to help. The woman teared up. I was scared to even ask. My last HO, she didn't finish. She didn't have to. That night, I wrote a letter to the HOA. Not a complaint. Not a request. A proposal. The Bluebell Accessibility Grant. 1 project per quarter, funded by unused enforcement fees. Built by volunteers. Approved on empathy first, paper second. They voted yes. Unanimous. The ramp stayed. The sign stayed. And dignity? It bloomed. Not just in our yard, but all over the block. Karen's house sold. New family, 3 kids, 1 dog. They installed a mini ramp on the front porch. For the dog. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Now and then I catch myself staring at the ramp. Not because of what it is, but because of what it started. People think change needs a protest, a megaphone, a movement. But sometimes it just needs a gentle incline and someone willing to push.